Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, family and friends of the graduates, and members of the graduating class of 2022, on behalf of our esteemed faculty and staff, I welcome you to the Berkeley Haas MBA Commencement Ceremony. I'm Ann Harrison, Dean of the Haas School. It is my duty and great pleasure to officiate at today's ceremony. How truly wonderful it is to be here for our first MBA in-person graduation at the Greek Theater since 2019. Graduates, we congratulate you on your remarkable achievement. And what an achievement it is. You have earned your MBA from one of the top programs in the entire world. Congratulations to each and every one of you. Together, we have lived through a time like no other. We have seen that the world is more fragile than we could have imagined. Almost no one is left untouched by loss. For your class, the sense of loss was all too real. Just as the fall semester 2020 was coming to a close, we learned about the tragic death of your classmate, Nadim Faruqi. As we remember Nadim, now with a moment of silence, I ask you all to reflect on Nadim's words. Let us laugh, cry, and think of how to make the world better. Thank you. I look at all of you and I see so much hope for the future. In coming to Haas, you asked yourselves, what do I believe? You were already on your way to making your mark in the world, but you sensed you could do more. So you came to Haas. And suddenly your world was upended. The global pandemic disrupted your MBA experience. And it disrupted everything else. You faced isolation, uncertainty, the added complexities of living through COVID. For months on end, you were unable to see family or friends. For our student parents in our programs, you added homeschooling to your already long list. But through everything, the closures and the upheaval, and finally, the sheer joy of reopening, you showed a grit and a resilience that was unparalleled. You showed courage and conscience. Simply put, you showed leadership. Viktor Frankl, the great neurologist, philosopher, and Holocaust survivor, is often quoted as saying, between stimulus and response, there is space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. If you ever wondered how you would respond when faced with seemingly insurmountable challenges, you have your answer. You are and will continue to be an inspiration to us all. Because of who you are, your fierce intelligence and your deep understanding of the forces that drive business, you are powerful. Power is not always how many people report to you or whether you have the CEO's ear or even whether you are the CEO. Power is the ability to make a difference, one day at a time. The careers that will take you far and wide will create a world of new opportunities, new homes, and new jobs for so many, and not just for yourselves. Entire communities will depend on all of you to create a sustainable and inclusive world. You will be on the cutting edge of decentralized finance. You will reimagine our built environment and the future of cities. Retirees will depend on your skills and responsible business practices to see them through their old age. And you will face choices. My deepest hope is that the values that we share at Haas will continue to guide you. You know them as our 4 defining leadership principles. The first one, question the status quo. We champion bold ideas. It is one of the hallmarks of Haas. Confidence without attitude. We do the work, we know our material, but we always start from a place of respect. If the pandemic has taught us anything, it is that change is the one constant in our lives. We will all continue to be students always. And finally, my favorite of the 4 defining principles, beyond yourself. We shape our world by leading ethically and responsibly. You will be stewards of something larger than yourselves. As you leave Haas, I ask you to keep the principles with you as a touchstone, your true north. Take a moment right now, look in front and behind you. You are surrounded by some of the smartest, the boldest, and the coolest people you will meet anywhere in the world. Stay connected to each other. Help each other succeed. That is among the greatest gifts of your degree. Beyond your own class, today you will be joining a network of nearly 42,000 fellow Haas alumni around the world. Take advantage of this network, your network. When you reach your new destination, look up your fellow alumni and plug into that network. Lean on it, contribute to it. It will get stronger as a result. Hire Haas. Remember all the talent in the Greek theater today. Then multiply it all over the world. And when you can, give back to Haas. Stay connected to Haas. You will always have a family here. And speaking of family, and before we proceed, I want to offer special thanks to a group of individuals here today who have gone beyond themselves, who have worked so hard to make today possible for our soon-to-be graduates. That is, all the parents, the spouses, the partners, the family and the friends of the graduating students. Without your help and support, today would not be possible. Let's do another round of applause for this wonderful One of the great traditions at the Haas School is the selection of our commencement speaker. Each year, we call upon an individual of uncommon distinction to address the MBA graduating classes, someone who embodies a commitment to excellence and a distinguished record of achievement, someone who personifies our defining leadership principles. I am honored today to introduce your 2022 commencement speaker, Jagdeep Singh. Jagdeep is a founder, an entrepreneur, and a telecommunications and energy visionary. He's also a graduate of the Evening and Weekend MBA program, class of 1990. 2010, Jagdeep Singh co-founded QuantumScape, a company on a mission to transform energy storage and support a zero-carbon future. Electrical vehicles today account for only about 4% of the world's cars. So how will car manufacturers transition to fully electric fleets? Almost certainly with the help of QuantumScape and the new battery technology it is developing for safer and more economical alternatives to lithium-ion batteries. QuantumScape is just one of Jagdeep's many successes. What data displays on your screen in just fractions of a second, thank Jagdeep and the integrated photon circuitry developed by Infinera Corporation. Jagdeep led Infinera from founding to IPO. Before Infinera, there was Lytera Networks and OnFiber and Airsoft, all hugely successful companies founded by Jagdeep. Jagdeep also leads Deep Valley Labs, the venture laboratory and incubator that he started. It is focused on founding, validating, and spinning out high-impact technology companies. Jagdeep earned his undergraduate degree in computer science from the University of Maryland and his master's in computer science from Stanford, and his MBA from Berkeley Haas. Please join me in welcoming Berkeley Haas alum, Jagdeep Singh.
Thank you all. Thank you, Dean Harrison, for that kind introduction. It's great to be back at Haas, great to be back at Berkeley after many years. I have a few prepared remarks, and I'll try to keep things relatively brief. So let me start. So first of all, Dean Harrison, distinguished members of the faculty, staff, family, friends, and most of all, graduating class of 2022. It's an honor to address you today. So you've spent 2 years working late on finance problems, management strategy cases, accounting homework, organizational behavior readings, many other things that you have to do. And you're now, or will soon be, holders of a Haas MBA. You might be asking yourself, what's next? I know I was when I was in your shoes about 30 years ago, graduating with an MBA from Haas, which of course had only just been renamed Haas. At the time, I was a poor graduate student, living on student loans, and to conserve cash and avoid falling deeper into debt, I would often buy a pack of hot dogs and a bag of buns, and to make them last a week, I'd live on 1 hot dog a day. As I walked from the room I rented in a house on the northeast side of campus to class at Barrows Hall, yep, class was at Barrows Hall back then, I would treat myself on Mondays to a 50-cent hash brown from the McDonald's on University in Shattuck. I remember thinking nothing tasted so good. On the plus side, I did lose a lot of body fat during that time, and I came out leaner, if not meaner. Luckily, we live in a great country, and even someone who starts out as poor as I was can, with some hard work and a bit of luck, achieve their dreams. My dream, since my early days as an undergraduate, was to start a company. I'd seen an issue of Time magazine with Steve Jobs on the cover, and that had inspired me to want to be an entrepreneur. After graduating with a degree in computer science, I moved west to work at Hewlett-Packard, considered by many to be the original Silicon Valley startup. I remember coming here, seeing startups like Sun Microsystems and Silicon Graphics go public, and thinking I was too late, that all the startup opportunities had already been taken. Luckily, I was wrong. Kind of like Lord Kelvin, who in 1900 is said to have addressed the British Association for the Advancement of Science by saying, "There's nothing new to be discovered in physics now. All that remains is more and more precise measurement." Of course, that was the same year Max Planck introduced his quantum theory of energy, revolutionizing physics forever. So when it comes to the question of what's next for you, I can't answer that for you. Each of you will forge your own path, your own unique path through the world. What I can do, however, is share a few key thoughts summarizing what I've learned about entrepreneurship in my 30 years of starting companies in Silicon Valley, in hopes that you might find some of these useful as you work to make the biggest impact you're capable of making. While my comments will be framed from the lens of entrepreneurship, luckily, it turns out that, at least I believe, many of these principles turn out to be applicable to almost every walk of life, from working at a big company to even one's personal life. With that as background, here are my 5 basic thoughts. Number 1, pick a big problem. The starting point is the realization that you can't make a big impact if you're playing in a small space. You have to pick big unsolved problems. Picking the right problem, in my view, is the hardest part of making an impact. The problem has to be simultaneously important, i.e., if you solve it, somebody should care, and have an actual chance of being solvable, because if you don't solve it, nobody's going to care. When Einstein chose to work on the theory of relativity, he picked a problem that, if solved, would upend 300 years of Newtonian physics. The fact that he was then actually able to solve it is, of course, what made him immortal in the world of physics. Of course, picking a big problem doesn't automatically mean you will succeed at solving it. But it's far more fun to fail at something big than succeed at something small. The most fulfilling, most memorable projects to me have been the ones that look mind-blowingly disruptive when first proposed, yet paradoxically look inevitable when viewed through the lens of hindsight. Building a startup electric car company in one of the most expensive parts of the country with a powertrain made of consumer-grade laptop batteries is an example of something that sounds ridiculous at first glance, but then seems inevitable now that the electric car revolution is upon us. Here's the good news. The world right now has lots of huge unsolved problems, from political polarization to climate change, from artificial general intelligence to augmented humanity, from disease to inequality. So you have lots of big problems to choose from. Pick one that you have a passion for, that you can't help but want to spend all your time, day and night, on, even if others think it's too idealistic, too big, or too unsolvable. You're Berkeley MBAs now. You don't need to settle. Which brings me to my next point. Be contrarian and right. When it comes to picking problems, the best advice I ever got was this: be contrarian and right. Picking problems is a bit like picking a stock. If you pick one that everyone likes, then that belief is already priced in, and even if you're right, there's limited upside. And of course, if you're wrong, then you're wrong, and there's definitely downside. So the trick is to pick something contrarian, something few people think can work, but to be right. Many of the most disruptive contributions made to our society were made by people pursuing ideas that were considered impractical at best, or downright ridiculous by many. The first step is to pick an idea that's contrarian. A contrarian approach can be one that's never been tried, or has been tried but has failed. If everyone agrees your idea is a great one, it's by definition not contrarian. So ironically, you need some naysayers to validate your idea. The second step, once you pick a contrarian idea, is to maximize the chances of being right and actually being able to pull it off. Doing this requires doing an intense level of homework on the idea. Learn everything there is to know about the idea, why previous approaches failed, who the best people in the space are, and be brutally honest with yourself about the merits of the idea. Don't let anyone else tell you it will never work, but don't convince yourself it will work without having the confidence that comes from truly having done a deep dive and profoundly understanding the problem and your solution. If you can do both these things, you have a good chance of being contrarian and right. I've been lucky to have had a chance to work on more than one such problem. In fact, in many ways, my entrepreneurial career has been a series of contrarian bets. Luckily, they've generally turned out okay. So this approach has worked for me. Number 3, build a world-class team. So here's the thing. There aren't a lot of big problems that you can solve on your own, and few storms you can weather alone. You need a team with world-class talent in all the key areas your specific project requires, who bring knowledge and capabilities you don't have, and who can work together with you to help scale the mountain. So what's a world-class team? It's not just people you like hanging out with. They need to have a few key qualities, IQ and deep domain expertise is, of course, table stakes. But what you really need is people who have a deep-rooted commitment to the mission, a commitment which allows them not to be swayed or spooked when the inevitable issues come up. No startup is a straight shot, just like no attempt on a challenging peak will be without setbacks, whether it's weather or avalanches or crevasses. But here's the good news. When you choose a really big, hard problem, it gets easier to attract a world-class team because the best people want to work on the biggest and hardest and most impactful problems. And with a team like this, you just might pull it off. In this sense, it can actually be easier to solve the really big and hard problems. Yet another reason to go big. Number 4, take the initiative and just try. Some of you might follow basketball. Actually, any Warriors fans in the house here? All right. I think we can agree that Steph Curry is one of the best shooters in the history of basketball. But even Steph Curry can have bad shooting nights. But what makes someone like him truly great is even when he's not shooting well on a given night, he has the confidence to still be taking shots. More shots on goal, which of course increases the number of shots in goal. As an entrepreneur, you have to do, not just sit on the sidelines. I learned a long time ago with my first startup that our system actually rewards taking the initiative even more than it does being right. When you take the initiative and start making progress towards a vision, you can inspire others, and even if your full vision isn't realized, you can create value in the process. And the more attempts you make, the more right you will ultimately be. Studies on contemporary geniuses have found that one of the defining characteristics of people considered by their peers to be geniuses is that they have a lot more good ideas than the non-geniuses. But it turns out they also have a lot more bad ideas. They just have more ideas, period. It's not that they're always right. Rather, they take chances and are wrong a lot of the time, but in the process, they may generate a few ideas that are profound or build something mind-blowingly disruptive, yet inevitable. And that brings me to my 5th and final thought. When you take on big problems and big, hairy, audacious goals, when you're being contrarian, when you jump in and try, you will make mistakes. Own those mistakes, learn from them, and try never to make the same mistake twice. If you live your life with this principle, you'll get better and better at what you do, and before you know it, you'll be playing the game at a higher level than you ever thought possible. With these few words, I wish you all the success life has to offer as you pursue your own big, hairy, audacious goals. Goals I believe your time at Haas has prepared you well for. Best of luck, class of 2022. I look forward to truly great things, big ideas, and contrarian solutions from you. This is your time and your place. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jagdeep, for those thoughtful insights. We really appreciate you sharing your story with the class of 2022. Jagdeep Singh is the quintessential Berkeley leader. At the very forefront of innovation, he is creating a sustainable and inclusive future for all of us. Now, let us turn to our evening and weekend MBA students. You persevered through the pandemic. Even though personal and professional lives were turned upside down, you kept going. While you were here at Haas, 32% of you were promoted, 41% of you changed jobs, 13% of you said "I do" to your partners, and 30 babies were born. Did I say you were inspiring? Every year, we honor one student from your class with the Outstanding Academic Achievement Award. This honor goes to the student completing his or her graduate studies with the highest GPA in the class. This year's award winner is Laura Jacobson. Laura graduates with an impressive 3.982 GPA. After graduation, she will be continuing to expand her role at GMO, the value-driven investment firm co-founded by Jeremy Grantham, where her focus is on managing endowments, pensions, and other large investor relationships across North America. Congratulations, Laura. We also recognize the academic achievement of the top 10% of full-time MBA, of top 10% of MBA graduates, as measured by GPA. The names of our honors graduates are listed in the commencement booklet. At this time, I would ask our students to stand as we celebrate their achievement. Will you please stand if you are in the top 10% of the evening weekend program? I now have the pleasure of recognizing the winners of a set of awards that are very dear to every Hosse's heart. The Class of 2022 Defining Leadership Principal Awards and of the Berkeley Leader Award. The winners were nominated and selected by classmates, staff, and faculty. As I announce the recipients of these awards, will they please stand? If you could please hold your applause until I have read all the names. The first one, Question the Status Quo, goes to Eleanor Bolai. Confidence Without Attitude goes to Chak Dihura. Student Always goes to Steve Odell. And Beyond Yourself goes to Nana Lay. And the Berkeley Leader Awards go to Nana Lay and Francis Ho. Your classmates and all of us, thank you for your exemplary contributions to our community. Thank you so much, and now we can give them a round of applause. Now we will hear from a graduating student who was selected by her classmates to represent the evening and weekend MBA class of 2022, Paulina Lee. While managing the demands of a sales and marketing director role at Procter & Gamble, Paulina brought her energy and commitment to Haas, immediately joining student government, first as a social cohort rep, and then as the EVP of marketing and on the executive board of the Evening Weekend Student Association. In the classroom, she was a graduate student instructor for the class Becoming Superhuman. Around campus, she carved out time to serve as the executive producer and host of the Here at Haas podcast and the special blockchain series Around the Block. Despite all of that, Paulina continued to find the time to tutor K-5 reading partners. Pauline is a storyteller, an innovator, and I would say a force of nature. She is all Haas. Ladies and gentlemen, the Evening Weekend Berkeley MBA program speaker, Paulina Lee. Whew.
and get situated here. All right. It's intimidating being up here. 600 freshly minted or about to be minted MBAs, not including some with double masters, PhDs, doctorates, JDs, all you overachievers, you. The amount of wisdom and intelligence in this theater alone is astounding. To my EWs, here we are. 3 years later, 1,095 days, we did it, Haasies. And a lot has happened in the world in those 3 years. Wars, new world leaders, wildfires, a pandemic that never seems to end, but here we are. We've also seen a lot in 3 years. New careers, houses, home cities, new beginnings with new little humans, fur babies, partners, and friends who may often feel more like family. No offense to our families. We've also had to say goodbye to many things, previous work identities, old habits, old ways of thinking. We are here today with some of our favorite people who are just as relieved and excited that we made it to graduation. We may also feel the absences of those who could not be here. There are the ones back home, perhaps watching us on live stream. Let's give them all a little wave. There are the ones who are a part of our past that we've had to let go of in order to move forward. And finally, there are the spaces left by those who left this life for good. And though we may have said goodbye, we hold them deep in our minds and in our hearts. Each and every one of these changes, additions and subtractions, has been pivotal in shaping who we are today. We have all gone through immense change and growth. We have all faced ourselves in the mirror and examined our identities in order to find ourselves anew. When we all showed up at WeLaunch, I'd bet we all had a little bit of imposter syndrome. Heck, I sell toilet paper for a living, though I'm not sure if that's a step up or step down for how I started selling toothpaste. What Haas has afforded us is the opportunity to redefine ourselves, to explore the edges of our comfort zone. And that's why, as we end this chapter and start a new path to our own definitions of success, we are faced with so many different emotions: joy, anxiety, relief, excitement, to move on to the next thing, get on with it. But perhaps we shouldn't, at least not right away. Which brings me to my first theme, because it wouldn't be a proper commencement speech without some themes, right? This one is about pausing. We have sprinted through life for the last 3 years. We cannot continue at this pace. We spent the last 3 years ruthlessly prioritizing and surviving. We gave up weeknights. We gave up weekends. So we now have an acute understanding of the breadths and depths of our own human capacity. So the first ask is to pause. Really pause. And see the space that school used to take up and protect it. Now that you have become the person you are today, reevaluate. Sit down with yourself and honestly seek to understand who you have become. Upon graduating, we often feel we are tasked with saving the world. The world is your oyster, they say, but please, you first. It will take work to intentionally leave space for you to pause, but it will provide clarity for you, not just on what's next, but also truly understanding your purpose, your values. Haas lecturer Lucas Miller, during our first class this spring, said, "Keep creating meaning. Happiness is fleeting." This brings us to today's second theme, live with intention. Each day, you decide with intention what you do, how you spend your time and energy, how you choose to move through this world, one step at a time. One of my favorite quotes from Professor Drew Isaacs, is there's no such thing as people who have great time management, just people who have a clear system of priorities. And more often than not, you will have to say no more than you say yes. What I have loved about Haas is that it is not just a place for cutthroat capitalist competition. Instead, you discover peers who constantly lift each other up. You discover faculty that aim not just to help you get that next promotion, but prepare you to be a leader. Leaders with responsibility, leaders who must understand their own impact on their team, on their community, on their planet. We have heard from those at We Lead how Haas helped us become more confident, more flexible, and pushed us to redefine how we think of success. We cannot claim ignorance anymore, my friends. We do have a duty to be our best selves and to put that best part of ourselves forward, to lead not just with our brains, but our gut and our heart, most importantly, our heart. My time up here is coming to a close. I've asked you to pause and then live with intention. So finally, we must remember to savor. Savoring is all about being present, soaking in each and every moment before it is gone in the blink of an eye. So I'd like to close today with a brief meditation. Please join me in closing your eyes. Take a deep breath in, hold it, and a deep breath out. Savor. I want you to remember today, remember this defining moment. Can you feel the tickle of a breeze in your hair? Perhaps the sun upon your face? Savor. Can you feel the weight of B School lift off your shoulders? Sounds like it. Savor the big moments and the small ones. Savor. And when you're ready, please open your eyes. Remember to pause. Remember to live each day with intent. Remember to savor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paulina. And now to our teaching awards. Each year, our students in each of our programs select the winners of our CHITE Awards for Excellence in Teaching. This year's CHITE Award for Graduate Student Instructor goes to Kimberlyn George. Kimmy is a candidate in our Haas PhD program and GSI for financial reporting. Congratulations, Kimmy. Where's Kimmy? Now for our Faculty CHITE Awards. The weekend MBA students selected as their CHITE Award winner economics professor Ricardo Perez Truglia for his macroeconomics course. Ricardo was not able to join us today. The CHITE Award for the evening MBA program goes to Professor Max Offhammer. Max? Max taught data and decisions. Congratulations, Ricardo and Max. Let's give Max and Ricardo and Kimmy a big round of applause. We will now recognize the evening and weekend program candidates for the degree Master of Business Administration. Assisting me will be Jamie Breen, Assistant Dean for MBA Programs. Jamie will be joined by Mark Gorenflow, the Executive Director of the Evening and Weekend MBA Program.
Sayan Bamidi.
Sugambal.
Bharat Bhatia.
Sarada Weerasinghe.
Alex Nabileski.
Christian Matheson.
Ankith Chirala.
Teng Chu.
Vinay Sridhar.
Jacqueline Wong.
Alexander Carney.
Jose Alvarez Resendez.
Britt Osman.
Gul Levy.
Caitlin Mullen.
Anjali Chatwani.
David Diaz.
Edward Wong.
Shreya Rajashri Raghunathan.
Shilpi Matrana Paga.
Jimmy Lee.
Shilpa Warlikar.
Jody Shulin Ya.
Alan Yuang.
Cindy Hoon.
Sudhir Chira.
Pascal Suker.
Mark Lyabovitsky.
Nathan Hanna.
Akhtar Masood.
Wayne Meng.
Connor Cunningham.
Mrudala Singapali.
Anikat Saneji.
Umang Bardawaj.
Rupali Ruchismita.
Peter Gallagher.
Kimberly Lamb.
Katie Todd.
Jacqueline Schindler.
Antonia Bernhardt.
Priya Bajaj.
Tejas Maroti.
Nick Gurwi.
Janaki Ram Mudana.
Connie Wong.
Terrence Say.
Christine John.
Tao Tong.
David Yang.
Bo Lin.
Farbad Seda.
Shen Hu.
Kitan Kulkarni.
Grant Heffernan.
Austin Rosso.
Wayne Taylor.
Blaine Tahani.
Robert John Lee.
Akshay Malik.
Paige Stevens.
Sudarsan Kandas Kumar.
Leaning Lin.
Maria Fernanda Llerena.
Ryan Kimura.
Samuel Gould.
Georgia Wright Simmons.
Paul Engelhardt.
Kelsey Eastman.
John Eastman.
Adam Eppenstein.
Trevor Ryan.
Arvind Mamadana.
Vishal Desai.
Ian Leatherby.
Connor Wilkes.
Andrew Noto.
Carrie Goodson.
Nicholas Renchuk.
Will Scott.
Jarrett Wright.
Usha Rasul.
Ariana Calderon.
Nicole Vasquez.
Tanya Sachdeva.
Nuhaman Waldemariam.
Johanna Hyde.
Lauren Tang.
Vivian Lin.
Muskan Bale.
Jari Rizvi.
Jesse Manders.
Claire Willie.
Eric Sassano.
Michelle Seychow.
Connor Handy.
Ofek Lavian.
John Zhang.
Sia McWilliams Ellingson.
Veena Dharma Dikari.
Shiva Somasundaram.
Atusa Sadehi.
Haiyan Wu.
Danya Uni.
Maggie Lau.
Sonia Huang.
Bert Harrow.
Pallavi Maske.
Kathy Shah.
Wang Yao.
Shamli NV.
Chris Bennett.
Brad Satterwhite.
Manoj Ravi.
Nick Clark.
Masaki Yamaguchi.
David Wellington Holm.
Alexander Christian Innocent.
Lai Ping Charles Tang.
Lennon Pinto.
Gautam Sholingar.
Ron B.
Casey Peng.
Fukang Peng.
Sankan Narayanan Benistawaram.
Ellen Huang.
Yang Zheng.
Meng Ni.
Brian Yankton.
Nicholas Radich.
Matt Shoholm.
Vivek Doshi.
Sean Uwe.
Prajuma Desali.
Kishori Sekar.
Gokul Krishnan.
Rohit Tirumalai.
Melody Massas.
Frank Murdoch.
Kanak Murdoch.
Patricia Kurula.
Casey Hayano.
Gabriella Banks.
Katie Blevins.
Nora Fritz.
Chelsea Boyle.
Amna Khan.
Francesca Delaney.
Nicholas Houchin.
Christopher Layton.
Darren Lim.
AJ Sharma.
Eric Powell.
Dariush Sarafzadeh.
C. Lee.
Sureka Anataman.
Dinesh Prasant Srihari.
Subhash Segareddy.
Helen Hatch.
Tim Zheng.
Vivek Sholtaya.
Jyoti Balaji.
Myruk Husseini.
Anita Xavier.
Stephen Fang.
Catherine Zayak.
Ranjit J. Paul.
Rana Gidwani.
Sean Chaturvedi.
Vincent Ye.
Yogesh Pingle.
Travis Kauser.
Charles Tung.
Andrew Liu.
Ryan Morningstar.
Aditya Kistasameti.
Kevin Chang.
Jason Matthew Kubadoy.
Timothy Chen.
Finley Harcum.
Melissa Jeng.
Min Ku.
Nicola Payek.
Ying Li.
Varun Chikavukola.
Gagun Deep.
Kai Hu.
Krishna Medarametla.
Seth Chunwai Yu.
Dogakan Toka.
Michael Curry.
Wei Zhu.
Stanley Lamb.
Isaiah DeRisa.
John Toman.
Andrew Elliott.
Lauren McElhatton.
Anthony Ma.
Joseph Young III.
Raul Sahu.
Mikdad Balji.
Gopi Sundaresan.
Nitya Sundaswaran.
Purna Samanta.
Alyssa Zachariah.
Jijin Sunday Lang.
Mengi Wo.
Olena Daravianko.
Sneha Solanki.
Adriana Penuela Useche.
Shrey Kular.
Chinmay Gaikwad.
Brandon Hyman.
Abdullah Omarkil.
Hari Mani.
Greg Eckert.
Andrew Salim.
Michael Spieler.
Max Roush.
Francisco Gonzalez.
Daniel Zhang.
Charles Barlow.
Joshua Minix.
Gaida Zaran.
Gunnar Asen.
William Oldfather.
Patrick Aronini Jr.
Anthony Rivadeneira.
Federico Torre.
Kaushik Das.
Laura Jacobson.
Eleanor Bolai.
Check Omar Diura.
Steve Odell.
Nana Lay.
Francis Ho.
And Paulina Lee.
So, let us now turn to our full-time MBA students. Your full-time Berkeley MBA program is one of the finest and most selective MBA programs in the world. Yours is a story of accomplishment against some of the strongest headwinds ever. From the beginning, you stood out as one of the most diverse classes ever at Haas. "39% of you are women. 8% of you are veterans. 10% of you were the first in your families to attend college. And a full 50% of you are U.S. minorities. During your 2 years here, you took on high-profile leadership roles in addition to rigorous coursework. Every year, we honor one student from your class with the Outstanding Academic Achievement Award. This honor goes to the student completing his or her graduate studies with the highest grade point average in the class. This year's award winner is John Christopher Thompson. John graduates with an impressive GPA of 3.983. In August, he will start with software company ServiceNow and its business strategy group. Congratulations, John. At this time, we also recognize our full-time MBA students who performed in the top 10% of their class. The Graduation with Honors program celebrates their achievement and underscores the importance of academic excellence at Haas. The names of our honors graduates are listed in the commencement booklet. At this time, I would ask those students to stand as we celebrate their achievement. Please stand. Now we recognize the winners of the Full-Time MBA Defining Leadership Principle Awards. The Full-Time MBA students nominated classmates who have made outstanding contributions to the MBA experience and who best embody our defining leadership principles. As I announce the recipients, will they please stand? Again, I ask our guests to hold your applause until I've read all the names. The first one goes to, for Question the Status Quo, Eliza Gasik. And I met her father, David, wherever you are. She's amazing. Okay, Confidence Without Attitude goes to Casey Dunajek Denite. Student Always goes to Mathilde de la Calle. And Beyond Yourself goes to Kevin Hu. Thank you all for your exemplary contributions to our school. You may now be seated. Now we will hear from our full-time MBA student speaker, Kokai Atasi. Kokai was selected by her fellow students to address her class. Kokai is a Bay Area native-turned New Yorker who is the proud daughter of Nigerian immigrants. While at Haas, she focused on sustainable innovation and interned at Alante Capital, a venture capital firm that invests in technologies enabling sustainable apparel production and retail. She also served as a graduate student instructor for leadership communications and storytelling for leadership. She calls coaching her peers for Story Salon, a beloved Haas tradition, the highlight of her time at Haas. Prior to Haas, Kokai worked in roles driving social change through urban design and public-private partnerships. Most recently, she managed a portfolio of climate adaptation infrastructure projects at Van Allen Institute, including a mission-critical work stream of a $200 million bond program in Miami. Kokai is a serial hobbyist whose current obsessions include crack of dawn spin class and perfecting a roast chicken. She received her undergraduate degree from New York University. Kokai will be joining IBM as a senior consultant in August. Ladies and gentlemen, the full-time MBA program speaker, Kokai Atosi.
What are you all doing here? We can't come back. This means we can't come back, guys. What a miscalculation. I can't believe you're all here. Before I begin, I would like to say thank you. I often find myself deep in thought, and I'm often reflecting about the fact that Everything that happens to us is a result of a series of choices. There is so much about our existence that is completely out of our control, but I suppose at times like this, at significant moments, I like to think back on the seemingly insignificant moments that led to me getting to a particular place. Not only my own choices, but the choices of other people. My time at Haas has been incredibly formative. And despite the pandemic, I consider it to be one of the best decisions I ever made. And I want to say thank you to you, my fellow full-time MBAers, because had you not made that choice to come to Haas, for whatever reason you made that choice, whenever you made that choice, my experience would have been totally different. I sincerely thank you all for the time that we spent together. So thank you so much. I love you guys. So my speech will not be about the pandemic. However, while I said that my MBA experience was what it was despite the pandemic, it of course was what it was because of the pandemic. One of my earliest memories at Haas was leadership communication, a class we took from 6 to 9 p.m. once a week on Zoom early in our tenure at Haas. During that time of global chaos, the sun could not set fast enough. It would race to set in the evenings. And I would watch on Zoom as all the Zoom rooms in front of me went completely dark and everyone shuffled awkwardly to turn on desk lamps. Immediately, I would become exhausted. And then, on a break, I would hear one of my fellow classmates mention that he was thinking about how he was going to spend the rest of his day. His day. Because it was 3 a.m. where he was. Do you remember that? A third of you all did that. You delivered marketing presentations, micro exams, lead comm speeches in the middle of the night from Africa, Europe, South America, Asia. You guys are incredible. You fought to be here with us, and we're so grateful. We have not forgotten. Another one of my earliest MBA memories was attending the memorial service for our dear classmate Nadim, one of the very first Haas classmates I met over Zoom as I was quarantining with my family. The shock and the grief that we experienced so early on in our Haas experience was palpable, even though so many of us were watching the ceremony on Zoom. Nadim, we can't believe you're not here with us celebrating today, but we haven't forgotten you. We miss you. It is impossible to reconcile the idea that, strangely, as the pandemic was closing in, I found myself cushioned by 2 years of an MBA program. While wars were being waged against mask mandates, as the National Guard was being deployed to sanitize community centers, as families were clapping from their windows at night, as protesters painted murals in the streets, as coffins piled up outside nursing homes, I was invited to spend 2 years thinking about myself. What a baffling gift. For some of us, the choice to accept that gift was particularly complicated by that cacophony of events. And yet, here we are. The MBA is obviously not like other grad school programs, as my friends in med school like to remind me. Yes, I did return from Mexico a day before my corporate finance final. Why do you ask? I've heard consistently from classmates that the greatest gift of the MBA is the freedom to experiment, the freedom to try new things, be it pushing themselves to take internships in completely new sectors or even riding a bike. Most of us came from careers that held efficiency in high esteem, and thus a lot of us didn't have the flexibility to take certain types of risk, or even to ask ourselves what we really cared about. A few weeks ago, I asked a first-year student what she hoped to do post-MBA, and I watched her crumble as she confessed that she didn't know. as if I was going to report her to admissions. Isn't it so nice to know the truth? You know what I said to her? Who cares? Enjoy yourself. What I know now is that the MBA is a sandbox. When you leave, you may still not know what you want to do, but for 2 years, we had the opportunity to try and fail and learn and try. We may never get freedom like that again, which is why I may not leave. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But if I do leave, these are the things that I'll take with me. I'll share with you a couple of things I've learned. The first one I learned in Startup Sales, a class preparing founders and aspiring sales professionals for effective business development. I promise this is relevant to you. Our professor spends a lot of time consulting with founders about how to do sales, given that people say bad things about salespeople, but the success of the company really does depend on their performance. He says that when it comes to assessing the effectiveness of a sales team, only one metric matters. Can you guess? Leads generated, revenue. The one metric that matters is learnings over time. How much you're learning over a given period. What a Berkeley hippie answer. The most important thing is that you're learning. Well, I buy it. The objective of the sales team should be to maximize learning through intentional experimentation and intentional reflection so that the team can build a sustainable and proven strategy. When you find what works, hold on to it. When you find what doesn't, get rid of it. I'll tell you why I buy it, and I think it's applicable to all of us, and you probably have experienced this in your own lives. Experimentation is the key to growth. Professor Sharif Karmali said it this way: we're always in one of 3 zones: the stretch zone, the comfort zone, or the danger zone. The stretch zone is the only zone that you grow in. If we're not trying new things, we're not growing. May we, my beloved classmates and friends, remain curious enough about ourselves to take risks with intentionality, enabling a life of endless growth. The second valuable takeaway that I've gleaned from my MBA is no matter how smart or accomplished someone is, they're probably pretty weird. Another way of saying that is the MBA has pushed us to believe that people are storied and complex. We realize that we cannot guess who a person is or what they believe simply by how they present. I hope with all my heart that we don't forget that we don't forget how pleasantly surprised we've been by each other. Here's why I think that's important to remember. Odds are that the people that you're sitting next to right now will be pretty powerful someday. We will be responsible for other people, not only our direct reports, but those directly or indirectly impacted by the companies we work for or even run. It may be tempting for us as business leaders to become singularly focused on profit, but we simply cannot. You might be surprised to learn that the most salient argument I've ever heard in favor of corporate social responsibility came from our corporate finance class. Our professor reminded us that Milton Friedman's argument that shareholder maximization is the same as stakeholder maximization comes with conditions that are unequivocally unmet in our present society. As we re-enter the real world, I hope we can remember to view other people with openness and curiosity that will enable empathy and compassion, that motivates us to fight for what is good. I hope we can translate this awareness of the complexity of others into a resolve to steward our positions of power to contribute to an equitable and thriving society, even when it requires sacrifice. May we commit ourselves to relentless curiosity about the other so that we'll be motivated by empathy and compassion, regardless of our position. We have endless choices, some of which are overtly bad, but many of which are probably just fine. May these values guide whatever it is that we choose to do. To our friends and family, you all look very cute. I beg you to hold us accountable. People think MBAs are pretty insufferable, but you may have heard that we at Haas like to question the status quo. Please remind us to keep growing and to continue being compassionate. Stay hungry, stay curious. Happy birthday, Catherine. Go Bears!
Thank you so much, Kokai. And now the Chide Awards for Excellence in Teaching. The Chide Award for the Graduate Student Instructor in the Full-Time MBA program goes to Griffin Grail Bingham. Griffin was GSI for Introduction to Operations Management. The faculty member selected by the full-time MBA students for the Chide Award is Associate Professor Ned Augenblick. Ned taught the Strategic Leadership course. Please join me in congratulating Griffin and Ned. We now recognize the full-time program candidates for the degree Master of Business Administration. Assisting me today will be Jamie Breen, Assistant Dean for MBA Programs, Jen Bridge, Executive Director for the Full-Time MBA Program Office, and Chide Award winner Ned Augenblick will join in the presentation of the scrolls.
Kaylin Todd. Stu Fram. Olivia Wastinis. Charlotte Harris. Rachel Prensky Pomerantz. Emily Pearl Shapiro. Jake Becker. Brooke Monroe. Lena Horvath. Eric Edelstein. David Mancy. David Parkinson. Marco Cesario. Lily San. Julia Benjamin. Alyssa Zhu. Catherine Wilcox. Rachel Steinbach. Tess Krasny. Sam Bauer. George Denevers Milanovich. Clara Khan Pome. Preston Swan. Thomas Fantis. Irene Veith. Rachel Sklar. Christina Shu. David Rosas. London Swift. Pooja Bag. Rosa Wong. Tanvi Lau. Jason Friedman. Jeremy Smith. Taylor Fulton. Christina Dunbar. Jordan Bennett. Casey Smith. Jacqueline Birnbaum. Alejandra Vergara. Charles Lehman. Alex Stragden. Nave Algarisi. Eliza Springer. Elias Springer. Facundo Alvarari. Tomas Jimenez. Tomas Campos. Ignacio Bonami. Martin Pavez. Ryan Gibo. Hannah Grants. Simone Sept. Carlin Dacey. Andre Heller. Lisa Chen. Savita Karshi. Yongmin Kim. Jung Ho Lee. Ryan Chin. Marcus Branford. Jacob McIntosh. Sabin Ray. Kevin Sun. Michael Fergarsi. Andrew Johnson. Catherine Valle. Lokilani Hunt. Leila Beyonce Samimi. Daniel Matchlop. Stephen Domingo. Alan Churchill. Juan Carlos Nunez. Anton Diavola. Kevin Zhang. Candace Key. Kevin Brashear. Stephen Snodgrass. Michael De La Guardia. Drew Schneider. Gabe Mannion. Bora Gunner. Alma Skahib Sharif. Cyrus Aga. Daniel Plouffe. Alex Sergian. Peter Wren. Vaibhav Anand. Sandeep Shah. Aditya Ravi. Matt Schneider. Austin Lavin. Michael Halkias. Bradley Friedman. Leslie Chen. Robert Gassman. Landon Sorici. Harrison Shaw. Allison Fu. Christina Lee. Sharon Kumar.
Sophia Maloney.
Amanda Winnell.
Carolyn Aker.
Kelly Chu.
Blake Johnson.
Will Byer.
Shiva Patel.
Vasu Paniker.
Jared Gregg.
Rita Wiley.
Livia Simoto Johnson.
Michael Kim.
Lucas Coelho.
Stephen Pung.
Divya Vijapurapu.
Vivian Fung.
Jimmy Yang.
Josh Andres.
Chris Hester.
Emma Levy.
Anisha Prakash.
Anna Pan.
El Wiznicki.
Christopher Brian Quadu.
Tori Orlando Mays.
Lucas Seifu.
Donzel Leggett II.
Ajawarle Ajul. Give it to me again. Ayatomiwa Ajule.
Brooke Carter.
Samrawi Tomalo. Bye. Bye.
Dina Yared.
Nicole Jones.
Kanyusole Ibana. Consola Ibanu.
Jonathan Antos.
Olavi Rumi.
Dennis Yee.
Mina Matsumoto.
Ryan Littlefield.
Emily Morrison.
Jared Lynn.
Cindy Liu.
Jessica Huang.
Moon Kim.
Dominic Johnsere.
Aga Gugale.
Sean Mandel.
Ismail Aberki.
Saurabh Nayak.
Jonas Lindy.
Alejandra Arue Lau.
Brian Locasio.
Yoko Masuda.
Nicholas Brettschneider.
Jeff Diamond.
Morgan Zamaitis.
Graham Hayden.
Emily Orr and Greg Lubin.
Roy Hadar.
Chase Thompson.
Alan Huynh.
Camila Rico.
Alex Hamilton.
Nori Terracima.
Juan Pedro Pera.
Luis Felipe Gonzalez.
Fernando Moreno.
Federico Cueva.
Philippe Corribas Chadwick.
Ignacio Solis.
Saroja Boyakchian.
Samuel Jazzo.
Tai Wu.
Lucas Barth.
Abhishek Saraf.
Danielle Dillon.
Hiroki Kotagawa.
Kane Urayama.
Christine Wang.
Xiaoling Zhu.
Yuan Yu.
Cora Ewan.
Joseph Arone.
Drew Ruiz.
Henrique Tarasiuk.
Graham Smith.
Douglas Wise.
John Tolton.
Jake Mervis.
Dylan Cordero.
John Dio.
Catherine Law.
Hugh Harsono.
Sonia Solman.
Priyanka Antrea.
Nada Bazofti.
Serene Kairati.
Neha Dutta.
Marcelo Ferreira.
Jose Phillip.
Alexandra Boiskeva.
Grace Britton.
David Zambrano.
Julia Rinaldi.
Enrique Pavadano.
John Aquino.
Patrick Yang.
Tessa Dool.
Kendall Stuskovich.
Zachary Bills.
Nate Mason.
Ukil Fanis.
Ian McLean.
Vincent Chang.
Julie Minjiang Kang.
Paul Cho.
Ronak Singh.
Sachi Howla.
Sachin Bradaprulu.
Sean Aurora.
Janki Patel.
Alex Wong.
Spencer Ponce.
Abhi Roy.
Ray Shu.
Anthony Fasulo.
Mo Debove.
Songwen Chen.
Joseph Scammerhorn.
Pete Bobstein.
Do you want all of it? David Damari Golden.
Owen Lyons.
Shane Wilkinson.
Nasser Al Reyes.
Victoria Wilbur.
Stephanie Wenklowski.
Roy Perrier.
Brandon Aylert.
Kayla Layla Razavi.
James Doden.
Mukunda Sastry.
Nick Helgeson.
Ian Emery.
Romit Sen.
Mina Iyer.
Jawen Lee.
Jane Liu.
Kate Hung.
Yushen Chang.
Billy Andika.
Sharon C.
Eileen Liu.
Pratek Sahai.
Shariah Kalsi.
Shawshank Antharam.
Andrew Zellman.
Monica Parak.
Abhishek Gupta.
Jonathan Wan.
Eric Hawley.
Justin Rogers.
Doug Pan.
Sarah Rahman.
Suan Tung.
Winston Guan.
Ann Tran.
Loeta Soshino.
Crystal Eng.
Jessica Bronell.
Savita Kalyan Kumar.
Griffin Grail Bingham.
Taylor Budensick.
Andrea Barrios.
Kyle Dowds.
Kaylon Castillo.
Christine Yee.
Sully Sullivan.
Avery Hairston.
Alex Trombetta.
Spence Perron.
Bailey Dom.
Angela Lewis.
Ariana Spilatus.
Julie Warshaw.
Chelsea Mason.
Carson Goldman.
Lucas Coelho.
Chris Wang.
Koke Atasi.
John Thompson.
Eliza Gazek.
Casey Dunajik tonight.
Mathilde Delacaille.
And Kevin Hu.
At this time, will all the candidates for the degree Berkeley Master of Business Administration from both the full-time and the evening and weekend programs please rise? By virtue of the authority vested in me by the President of the University of California and the Chancellor of UC Berkeley, I grant you the degree Master of Business Administration. You may now switch your tassels to the left. If you haven't already done so, please switch your tassels to the left. Please be seated. All of the graduates here have commenced a new, lifelong relationship with the Haas School and Berkeley. You are now alumni. Before I bring the ceremony to a close, I want to invite you all to join us for the commencement reception in the Haas courtyard. We are full of pride at your achievements today, and we eagerly anticipate your great accomplishments in the future. Congratulations, and this commencement ceremony is now concluded.